Audio Jungle.
Did you know the tale of Genji is composed of 54 chapters? The tale of Genji, Genji Monogatari, pronounced as Genziya Monogatari, is a classic work of Japanese literature written in the early 11th century by the noblewoman and lady-in-waiting Murasaki Shikibu. The original manuscript, created around the peak of the Heian period, no longer exists. It was made in the concertina or Orion style. Several sheets of paper pasted together and folded alternately in one direction then the other. The work recounts the life of Hikaru Genji, or Shining Genji, who is the son of an ancient Japanese emperor known to readers as Emperor Kiritsubo, and a low-ranking concubine called Kiritsubo Consort. For political reasons, the emperor removes Genji from the line of succession, demoting him to a commoner by giving him the surname Minamoto, and he pursues a career as an imperial officer. The tale concentrates on Genji's romantic life and describes the custom of aristocratic society of the time. It may be the world's first novel, the first psychological novel, and the first novel still to be considered a classic, particularly in the context of Japanese literature. The tale of Genji's author is Murasaki Shikibu. Murasaki Shikibu, in English, Lady Murasaki. She was a Japanese novelist, poet, and a lady-in-waiting at the imperial court in the Heian period. She is best known as the author of the tale of Genji, widely considered to be one of the world's first novels written in Japanese between about 1000 and 1012. Murasaki Shikibu is a descriptive name. Her personal name is unknown, but she may have been Fujiwara no Kaoriko, who was mentioned in 1007 in a court diary as an imperial lady-in-waiting.
Good day everyone, my name is Ubolode Shinrichi. I'm here to talk the summary of each chapter of the tale of Genji. The first chapter is Kiritsubu, or the Paulownia Court. Genji, at age 1 to 12, Emperor Kiritsubo falls in love with Kiritsubo no Koi, a lower-class court lady, and she bears him an imperial prince. But she soon dies of a disease. In order to console the deeply grieving emperor, Fujitsubo, who looks exactly like the late Koi, is sent to the imperial court and wins the emperor's favor. The child of the late Koi is brought up under the protection of the emperor and comes to love Fujitsubo, who is said to look like his lost mother. He celebrates his coming of age, being given the name of Genji, and getting married to Lady Aoi, a daughter of the house of the Sajin, minister of the left, and the people come to call him Hikaru Genji because of his shining beauty. The next is Genji at age of 13 to 17. He has an affair with both Fujitsubo, his father's wife, and Rokujo no Miyazudokuro, or the Rokujo Haven widow of the former heir apparent. He also has a relationship with Asagao no Sain, priestess of morning glory. Some people claim that once there was a chapter called Kagayaku Hinomiya, the Shining Princess, which deals with his period of time. The next chapter is Hakigi, the Broom Tree. Genji, at age of 17 or summer, one night when early summer rain is falling, young court nobles gather around Genji, who is on night duty, and have a chat about ladies. In an episode known as Rating Women on a Rainy Night, on the following day, Genji has a relationship with Otsosime, lady of Shisada Shell, a wife of Iyonosuke, Deputy, at her residence which he has visited for ritual abstention. Genji wins over her younger brother to his side and tries to meet her again in vain, but Otsosime keeps strongly refusing him to see the broom tree. Next is the Otsosime, the Shisada Shell. Genji, the age of 17 summer, in the summer or evening, Genji catches a glimpse of Otsosime and her daughter-in-law, Nokiba no Ogi, having a game of golf, and he grows affectionate towards her. When night falls, Genji sneaks into her bedroom, but Ototsume senses is coming and runs away, leaving her clothes behind. Genji gets home holding her clothes, which look like the empty shell of a sisada. Yugao, evening phase. Genji, at age of 17, from summer to winter. Disclosing his identity, Genji has sexual relationship with Yugao, who lives around Buju. Yugao is the missing lover of Tono no Choju, Genji's best friend. Genji's love the pretty and obedient Yugao deeply, but Rokujo no Miyasodokoro is jealous of Yugao that her spirit possesses Yugao and causes her death. Genji deeply laments the death of Lady. Next chapter is Wakamurasaki or Young Murasaki. Genji at age of 18 from March to winter. The following spring, Genji visits the northern hills to perform incantations, finding a beautiful little girl there who lives with her grandmother and others. Genji is infatuated with the girl, a niece of Fujitsubo, and asks the nun to take responsibility for her. But the nun refuses his offer in the summer. Fujitsubo takes a short leave from service due to her illness. Genji has a second secret meeting with Fujitsubo, and right after her pregnancy is revealed. In winter, Genji takes the little girl from the northern hills to the residence in act which is tantamount to kidnapping. It is this girl, Wakamurasaki, who will be known as Lady Murasaki later. Next chapter is Sutsumuhana or the Sunflower. Genji at age of 18, in the spring to 19, New Year's Day, Genji and Tono Chojo are possessed by a rumor that a daughter of Prince Hitachi is living in sad circumstances and compete with each other in their advances to her. Genji succeeds in having a relationship with her sooner than Tono Chojo. He is surprised to find her an ugly lady with a long red nose, because the tip of her nose was red as though it had been stained with a sunflower. She is called Sutsumuhana. The next chapter is Miji no Ga, the Autumn Extortion. Genji at age of 18, October to 19 in July. When Emperor holds the Momiji no Ga, the Autumn Extortion, to celebrate the retired Emperor's birthday, Genji performs a dance. His dancing is also seen in the Imperial Court, and its high courtiers as well as Fujitsubo are filled with admiration for Genji. In the following spring, Fujitsubo gives birth to a baby boy. The emperor believes that it is his own son and thinks about making him in the their apparent. Next chapter is Hana no In, the festival of the cherry blossoms. Genji, at age of 20, spring, in the following spring, after the festival of the cherry blossoms is held at the imperial court, Genji has appeared with a princess. At the end of the spring, Genji invited Fistfield at the residence of the Odaijin, Minister of the Right, knows that she is a daughter of his political enemy Odaijin, and moreover, she is the woman called Oburusukiyo, the Misty Moon, who is going to be married with Genji's older brother. Genji, at age of 22 in April to 23, New Year's Day. 2 years later, Emperor Kiritsubo has already abdicated the throne, and Genji's older brother, Emperor Suzaku, has ascended to it. At the Aoi festival, Rokujo no Miyazukoro is humiliated by Lady Aoi over a quarrel about whether carriages are to be kept, and feels great bitterness toward her. Aoi, who is pregnant and childbearing, gives birth to a baby boy, Yogiri, but is tortured by the spirit of Rokujo no Miyasodokoro and dies. At the end of the summer, Genji, Lady Murasaki consummate their marriage. Next chapter is Sakaki, the Green Branch. Genji at age of 23 in September to 25 in summer. Rokujo no Miyasodokoro is afraid of her own vicious spirit. So, when her daughter becomes highest priest, she decides to go down to the Ice province with her daughter to confine the purify herself in the temporary shrine at Sagano. In the late autumn, Genji visits her in Auckland to live. In winter, Emperor Kiritsubo dies. Kiritsubo agonizes over her relationship with Genji and becomes a priestess. The relationship between Genji and Oboro Sakiyo continues after her marriage. The next summer is discovered by the Odaijin. Because of this, Genji was become involved in the political conflict between the Odaijin and Sodaijin, minister of the left. After the death of Emperor Kiritsubo is put in difficult situation. Next chapter is Hana Chirosato, Falling Flowers. Genji, at age of 25, May, during a break in the early summer rain, Genji visits the Rikiden, one of the court of ladies who late Emperor Kiritsubo, at her residence in which she lives a quiet, charming life like something out of an old tale. Genji remembers the days of the reign of his father, the emperor. The encounter with Hana Chirosato, who is younger sister of the lady and to be one of Genji's wives, is not mentioned in the work, but the author wrote of their reunion after many years. Next chapter is Suma. Genji, at age of 26 in March to 27 in March, Hikaru Genji senses that he is being punished to take the initiative, secluding himself from society to Soma. It is pitiful to see Genji worried about Lady Murasaki, say goodbye to all the women with whom had relationship and leave Kyo. In the following spring, on March 3, a storm strikes the beach where Genji is performing his ablution. Around the same time, priest Akashi, who lives in the neighboring province, known that Genji is staying temporarily in the Suma, so he plans to make his daughter marry Genji.
Hi, I'm Jayo Ferrer, and I am here to report Kakashi and to Makagawa. So, the summary of Kakashi is Genji has a revelation in dream in which Emperor Kiritsubo encourages him to leave Soma. So, he follows the revelation and priest Akashi takes him in his residence. Genji has a relationship with Lady Akashi, a daughter of priest Akashi, and before long the first signs of her pregnancy become apparent. Meanwhile, at the capital, Emperor Hiruko has a dream in which Emperor Kiritsubo appears and tells him that Genji is innocent, blaming Suzaku. The Emperor regrets expelling Genji and he issues an order to bring him back to the capital. Genji heads for Kyo hastily, being still attached to Lady Akashi. The story of Mutsukushi. So after Genji has returned to the capital, he embarks smoothly on a career in politics again and embarks on the high road to success. The following year, Emperor Suzaku abdicates the throne, and then the Emperor Rizzo, the child of Genji and Fujitsugu, succeeds to the throne. In autumn, Genji pays a visit to Sumiyoshi Taisha Shrine, which has guarded him in the exile at Suma Akashi. Lady Akashi also visits the shrine at the same time by chance, but they couldn't meet again. Also, Rokujo no Miyasudokuro and her daughter Bixbis returned to the capital because when the new emperor succeeds to the throne, the priestess also has to be changed. Before long, Miyasudokuro dies of disease. According to her will, Genji adopts her daughter, making her a part of Lady of Emperor Reizi. So the story of Yomugi. While Genji has fallen on hard times and withdrawn from society, Tsumu Hana, who doesn't have anybody else to depend on, is been devotedly waiting for him while enduring a life of poverty. Genji, who visits her after a long interval, is moved by the purity of her heart. So, story of Sikiya, the gatehouse. So, Otosemi, who has accompanied his husband to Itachi province, returns to the capital. Genji, who is on his way to the Ishinyama Dera temple, comes across the procession and exchanges poem with her. Iya waged a picture contest. So, competing for Emperor's favor, the High Priestess of AC, the Lady of Plum Pavilion, later called Empress Akikonomu, and a daughter of Gonu Tsunagon, Kokibino Nyugo, are respectively supported by Genji, and Tono Chuyu, now Gonu Tsunagon, who was once his best friend. When the picture contest is held, both Genji and Gon, Gonu, Ilagon keep their respective princesses focus on collecting picture scrolls in order to make their own one wheel. On the day of the picture contest, the picture scroll made by Genji when he was in exile in Suma is uploaded by Fuchitsugu and Emperor Rizi. So the high priestess wins the contest. So the Matsukazi win in the pines. So Genji encourages Lady Akashi to come up to the capital, but she is cornered about her social standing. Priest Akashi also persuades her to go up to the capital, and at last, she secretly moves to the second residence of Genji, located near the Katsuragawa River, where Genji welcomes her and meets his own daughter. When Lady Murasaki hears about her from Genji, she feels jealous of Lady Akashi because she doesn't have a child, but she is pleased to know Genji's plan to adopt the baby girl her in the future. So Osugomu Whips of Cloud. As Lady Akashi's daughter is taken in by Genji, Lady Akashi experiences a sad separation from her daughter at the second house in Oi. The following spring, Fujitsugu passes away, and Genji feels the extremely sorrowful. On the other hand, Emperor Rizi accidentally finds out that his real father is Genji and tries to save his father succeed to the throne. But Genji admonishes him for keeping the secret. So, the Asagao, the Morning Glory. Genji's cousin Asagao, about whom he had felt deeply once, resigns, because Asagao is well known for her beauty and attractiveness. So, Lady Murasaki can't help feeling uneasy. While Asagao keeps turning down Genji's marriage proposals, Genji tells Lady Murasaki about the woman he had relations with, and on that night, he has a dream in which Fujitsugu appears, blaming him over the scene being revealed. Tommy, the Maidens. So, Yuguri, Genji's son by AOI, celebrates his coming of age for various reasons. Genji makes his son study at the academy, but Yugiri is ashamed of this because it is not what the children of the distinguished families do. Yugiri has a girlfriend from his childhood called Kumoy no Kari, a daughter of the former Kuno Chuzu, the palace minister. But her father becomes Genji's political enemy and forces the two of them apart, which makes Yugiri even more depressed. 2 years later, Genji's residence, known as Rokuju Estate, is completed. The residence is separated into 4 wings, each of which is named after 4 seasons. In the spring wing, there lies Lady Murasaki, the summer wing, Hana Chirosato, and other woman. The autumn wing is for the Isaac consorts, short leaves from service. Because of this, she is called Aki Konumu, which literally means preparing autumn. And in the winter, being Lady Akashi, at the end of this chapter, Lady Murasaki and Empress Akonomi exchange poems of spring and autumn. Section 1 then requires of Tamakazuru, the jewel chapter. So Yugao and Tamakazuru, a daughter of Tunu Chuju, comes to be taken in by Genji and live in the Rokuju state through an act of fate. Hikaru Genji, Kotaro Oyubukyo Nomiya, Genji's younger brother, and Kashiwagi, Genji's older brother, by a different mother, proposed to her. But the most inelegant man, Higikuro, the commander of the right, forces her to get married with him in the end. The 10 choirs of Tamakazuru consists of short chapters which deal with the story around her, beginning with Hatsune, the first warrior, and ending with Miyuki, the imperial process, in which a year in the Rokuju state is elegantly depicted, focusing on elegance rather than the plot itself. So, Tamakazuru, the jewel chaplet. Tamakazuru is taken to Uzaifu by her wet nurse and grows up to be a beautiful lady. The wet nurse wants Tamakazuru's father to meet her, so they pay a visit to the Hatsushi shrine where they meet Uko, who was a former court lady of Yugo and serves Genji now, and Genji comes to adopt Tamakazuru.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Harold Ianayas and I am the next reporter. I will report the 11 parts of Tale of Genji. First is the Hatsune, second Tokonatsu, third Kagaribi, fourth Nowaki, fifth Miyake, sixth Fujibakama, and seventh Makibashira, and Umege, Fuji no Uraba, Wakana, and Blanc. So, report the Hatsune, the first water. Genji age 36 New Year Day. The New Year has come. An elegant New Year celebration at the Roko estate are expected. Young courtiers Hopi and New Year visit the Genji resident feel distracted because of Tamakahora. Young courtiers Genji age 36 from March to April. In March, when Express Okeonomo takes a short leave, the people and the Rokoho state enjoy boating, and after that various events are held. Tamakahora is so attractive that even Genji confesses his love to her jokingly. Hotaro the Fireflies, Genji age 36 May. Being depressed, Tamakahora doesn't enjoy himself at all, but Genji amuses himself by making fun of young courtiers who love her. When his younger brother, Hyobokyo no Miya, visits her, Genji lets fireflies outside inside of the bamboo blind, showing her beauty to him. Around the time when the early summer rain keeps falling, illustrated stories become popular at the Roko state. So Genji and Tamakahora debate about their tales. Takanatsu, the Pink. Genji age 36 June. One summer day, Genji invites Yugiri and other young courtiers and ridicules the bad states and intelligence of Omi no Kimi, a daughter of newly discovered by the palace minister. And after that, he visits Tamakahora place where Pink's Takanatsu are blooming in righteous profusion. Higaribi, the actress, Genji age 36 July. One early autumn night, Genji teaches Tamakahora how to play koto, Japanese traditional jira, and lies down beside her, making a fire in an iron basket at the garden. However, they don't enter into a sexual relationship. Nowaki, the Typhoon, Genji age 36 August. On the next morning, after Nowaki Typhoon, Yogiri visits Genji's wife and mistresses at the Roko estate, where he sees Lady Murasaki by chance and becomes attracted to her. He also sees his father flirting with Tamakahora and grows suspicious. Miyuki, the Imperial Progress. Genji, age 36 in December, 37 in February. In the winter, when the Emperor makes a royal visit to Ohano, Tamakahora catches a glimpse of Emperor Reiji, who sets his heart on her and she has tender feelings for him too. Genji confesses the truth to No Chozo and he makes plans for her initiation ceremony of tying the ceremonial apron for her bridal entry into court. New Year has come and Tamakahora holds initiation ceremony in spring, finally meeting has a real father, the palace minister, Fujibakama. Taro toward flowers. Genji, age 37, autumn. In autumn, palace minister mother Omiya passes away and her grandchildren Yugiri and Tamakahora go into mourning, as Tamakahora's bridal entry into a court becomes more of a real possibility. Suitors feels uneasy, especially Yugiri, who confesses his love for Tamakahora, putting a spray of true worth flower in Tanubla. Makibashira, the Cypress Petal. Genji, age 37 in winter to 38 in November. At the end of autumn, Kikikoro, who has loved Tamakahura for a long time, forced her to have a relationship with him with the help of court leading. Needless to say, Genji and the Emperor were dejected. Higikoro, who is deeply in love with Tamakahura, pays no attention to his wife and children, so his father-in-law, Shikibokyo no Miya, the highness of the ceremonial, gets angry and decides to take care of his daughter and grandchildren. The princess feels sorrow for being separated from her father, so she composes a poem and puts it into a crack in a pillar. The following autumn, Tamakahura bears Hagikoro a child. Omigi, the plum tree branch. Genji, age 39 in spring. The day of young lady Akashi's bridal entry into court is drawing closer, and Hikaru, Genji, prepares for it with every luxury imaginable. Various families are asked to blend fine incense as a part of the preparation. So one spring day, when plum blossoms come out, a blending incense competition is held. The following spring, young lady Akashi's splendid initiation ceremony is held. Fuji no Raba, Wisteria leaves. Genji, age 39, from March to October. Tenocho approves Sugiri's marriage to Kamoi no Kari, and a young lady, Akashi, enters the imperial court to marry the crown prince, a son of Emperor Suzaku. Moreover, Emperor Reizi knows that Genji's 40th birthday will come next year, and issues an order to grant him a rank equivalent to retired Emperor. In winter, Emperor Reizi visits the Koho estate, and Genji is at the height of his prosperity. When he was a boy, a Goryu psychonomist professed that he would become neither emperor nor subject, which come true. Wakana Spring Shoots Volume 1. Genji, age 39, winter to 41 in March. In a celebration of Hikaru Genji's foreign birthday, Tamakahura sends him spring shoots New Year's Day. Meanwhile, Emperor Suzaki is to retire into priesthood, but he worried about his youngest daughter, Ona-san no Miya, and so asks Genji to marry her. Lady Murasaki is deeply concerned with his, and while Genji himself can't feel affection for the third princess because she is married child, he also can tone down his older brother and the imperial offer. In autumn, Genji's 40th birthday ceremony is carried out with a great splendor. The following spring, young lady Akashi bears to the crown prince a child, increasing Genji's influence, while Kashiwagi, a son of no Chuzo, catches a glimpse of Ona-san no Miya when Kimari, Japanese ancient imperial court game like kickball, is played and falls in love with her secret. Genji, age 41 to 47. Between the first and second volume of Okana, there is a blank of 7 years. During this time, Emperor Reizi abdicates the throne and Emperor Kenzo, a son of Emperor Suzuki, succeeds to his father. Lady Akashi, son, becomes the crown prince. Wakana was divided into 2 volumes for posterity, but it was originally 1 volume. Wakana Volume 2. Genji, age 41, in March, 47 in December. At the Emperor Suzaki 50th Jubilee, a music concert performed by women is to be held, and Genji teaches Ona-san no Miya the koto right after the music concert. Lady Murasaki is sick in the bed, and Genji busies himself in taking care of her. During the time, Kashiwagi realized his desire getting Ona Sanomiya pregnant. Genji, discovering this through a letter Kashiwagi has sent to Ona Sanomiya, agonized over it. However, Kashiwagi gets ill because of Genji's indirect admonition and falls into a crucial condition. Proceed to another quarter.
Wakana Volume 2. Hikaru Genji from the age of 41 in March to age 47 in December. 4 years later, the time has shifted from the reign of Emperor Rizzi to Kinjo no Mikado. The first prince to whom the young lady Akashi gave birth has become the crown prince. Genji teaches Ona Tsunomiya how to play kukin, an ancient Chinese string instrument, for a celebration ceremony of Suzaku in his 15th birthday to be held in following year. A splendid concert of Onogaku, a woman's music, is held at Rokujo in palace during the New Year's days. The Ona Tsunomiya Murasaki no, a young lady Akashi, and Akashi no Paonkanta all give a wonderful performance. But Murasaki no Oe, in her unlucky age of 37, suddenly collapses during the night. Her condition does not improve, so Genji moves her to Nijo in palace with him, staying here with all the time. The celebration ceremony of Sakazu's 15th birthday is held on December 25 when the end of the year draws near. The next chapter is Kashiwaga the Oak Tree. This is the story of Hikaru Genji at the age of 48 from January to April. Kashiwagi, who was laid up, was prepared to die and sent letter to Ona Sanomiya, the third princess. Encouraged by Kujiju, Ona Sanomiya, who was secretly sent back, Kashiwagi was choked with tears. After that, Ona Nosumiya gave birth to a baby boy, Horu. Without trouble but became drastically weak and pleaded to Sazakuti, who was concerned and privately visited her, to allow her to enter the priesthood. Genji, who was looking up quickly, tried to look her back, but Ona Sanomiya was determined to cut her hair in the early evening of the day. Kashiwagi, who came to know that Ona Sanomiya was entered to priesthood, was driven to despair and handed the baton to his parents and brothers. His separated wife Uchiba Nomiya also dissolved in tears. Yugiri became concerned and visited Kashiwagi and hinted to her that he had caused resentment to Genji and asked her to meditate. While his brother Nasumiya Kashiwagi finally died, among all his parents' grief was bottomless, and Ona Sanomiya, who heard that, also felt sorry for them and cried. Kashiwagi personal life. He was the heir of the Tono Chujo, and his mother was the fourth daughter of Minister of the Right Kiritsubu no Mikado. Kobai and Kokide no Nyogo were his brothers. He is an important character in the second part of the Tale of Genji. Yukubui, the flute. It is a story about Hikaru Genji, age 49. The first anniversary of Kashiwagi's death came. Kashiwagi's father, Tonochujo, the first secretary's captain, who did not know behind the scenes circumstances, thanked Genji for his contrary cold and felt sadness again. A bamboo shoot was sent into Una Tsunomiya, the third princess, by Emperor Sazaku, who lamented a series of misfortunes happening to his daughters such as Ona Tsunomiya becoming a nun. The death of Uchiba Nomiya husband Genji healed Kaoru, who beat the bamboo shoot with his baby teeth, looked back in his life far, and paid attention to Kaoru's young but noble countenance. One autumn evening, Yugiri, the tale of Genji, visited Kashiwagi's widow, Uchiba Nomiya. On his way home, Uchiba Nomiya mother Ichijo no Miyasudokuro sent Yugiri Yokubu that Kashiwagi left. Kashiwagi appeared in Yugi's dream that night, telling that there was somebody else whom he wanted to hand Yokobu to. Next chapter, Suzumushi, the Bell Cricket. Hikaru Genji, age 50, from summer to the middle of the August. In summer of the year, when the lotus flowers are at their best, a ceremony to consecrate a newly made Buddhist image for Onna Tsunamiya, the third princess, is held. At the hall, which has already been decorated, Genji complains to Onna Tsunamiya, dressed as a nun, about his sorrow due to being left behind. But she just gives a dismissive answer. Emperor Suzaku recommends her moving to the Sanjo Nomiya residence which he gave to her. But Genji, who is reluctant to lose his young wife, will not agree. In autumn, he changes the front garden to Onna Tsunomiya room into one which resembles a field, and releases autumn insects such as pine crickets there. She is irritated by Genji's kind consideration, but she cannot tell her feelings to him. The next chapter will be Yugiri, the Evening Mist. Hikaru Genji at the age 50 and Yugiri age 29, from the mid-August to winter. Kashiwagi's widow, Uchiba Nomiya, has moved to Mountain Villa at Uno in order to chant an incantation to cure an illness of her mother. Ichijo Nomiya Sakudoro, around mid-August, Yugiri, who is in love with her, visit Uno no predicts that he'll call Yusadoro to inquire about her health. Yugiri, who is asked to stay overnight under pretext at the fog thickening, tells her insistently how much he's loved her for many years. However, his love of her is not accepted, and dawn breaks. Miyasukudokoro, who hears from Rishiki Buddhist priest that Yugiri stayed overnight at Uchiba Nomiya's villa, went home in the morning, forces herself to spite her illness, to send letter to Yugiri in order to make certain the truth. However, his wife Kunomiyo Nokari takes a letter and hides it. Miya Sudokoro is waiting to reply of Yugiri for a long time, but at last she passes away suddenly as a result of excessive anxiety. Yugiri is told about her sudden death and conducts the whole funeral bath. Uchiba Nomiya blames him for the death and will not open her heart to him. The next chapter will be Minori, the Rite. It covers the period from March to August when Hikaru Genji is 51. Since Murasaki no Uwe fell seriously ill, she has always been in poor physical condition. She is anxious to become a nun, but Genji will not allow her to do so. On March 10, the old lunar calendar, a religious service from 1,000 copies of Hokkien no Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, was held splendidly at Noujoin as part of vow made by Murasaki Noe. Akashi Onkata, Lady Akashi, and Hanakoto also visited Murasaki Noe, and she thinks that his life is final meeting with him, being unwilling to part from them. When it's summer, Murasaki Noe's condition gets worse, and the young lady, Lady Akashi, visits her old home to see her adopted mother. Murasaki Noe leaves a message obligatory to her grandchild Nomiya, whom she was loved. She died at August 14, the old lunar calendar. The next chapter will be Niyomiya, His Perfumed Highness. It described 8 years after Maburushi, the wizard, a story of Kauru's life between the age of 14 and 20. No one showed sign of Hikaru Genji after his death. Only Kinjo Unomikadu's son, Tsunomiya, the third prince, Niyomiya, and Onna Tsunamiya, the third prince's son, called Kaoru. In fact, Kashiwagi, the oak tree sons, had a reputation for being the greatest noble of the day. Niyomiya celebrated the attainment of his manhood, becoming Yubukyu, Minister of Yubushu, Ministry of Military, and lived in Nijoin, and residence of Murasaki Noe. Yukiri, Evening Miss Genji, and Yukiri wanted Niyomiya to marry his daughter, but Niyomiya was not interested in it because he preferred free love. Yugiri invited Ocharabiya no Miya to the summer residence in Rikiji Palace and dutifully visited her and Konomokari sa Junodono Palace 15 days after the month and day by day rotating basis. The next chapter will be Kobai, the Rose Plum. Kaoru, age 24, around spring. The second son of late Kiji no Otodo, retired Grand Minister, or Tono Chuju, was already become Azeze no Dainagon. After the death of his older brother Kashiwagi, who was the successor to his father, he has a chief support of the family. He has two daughters, Ogimi, older sister, and Nakanomi Kimi, by his lost lawful wife. His present wife is Makashibaki Mashira, a daughter of Hikigoro Daijin, and a former wife of the late Hotoro Hokyobu no Miya. He had son with her. Furthermore, Makashibashira left with a girl Nokomiya by her husband's death, and the girl also lived in the residence of Dainagon, Chief Counselor of State. The next chapter will be Takikawa, Bamboo River. It is the story of Kaoru's life between the age of 14 and 23. After Hikikuro Daijudajin passed away, Tamakazura was left in her three sons and two daughters and tried to restore her ruined family. Kinjo no Mikado and Emperor Rizi asked Kamazura to let them marry her two daughters, Ogimi, the oldest sister, and Nakano Kimi, but Mikado had already been married to a young Lady Akashi. Her sister-in-law and Emperor Rizi has Kokiden no Yogo, Empress Kokiden, her old sister by different mother, so she did not know what to do. Kaoru and Kokoro no Suji, who was Yugiri, an evening mist, fifth son, were also Onigimi's suitors. In late January, when Kaoru was 15, young people gathered at Tamakazora residence to sing Takikawa in the Saibaira style, a genre of Heian period Japanese court music, primarily consisting of Gagaku-style folk melodies. At that time, Tamakazura realized that the sound of wagon, a Japanese harp, which Kaoru was playing, was similar to that by her deceased father, Tono Chujo, the first secretary's captain, and her deceased older brother, Kashiwagi, the oak tree.
I am Janine Esmeralda and I am here to report about the verse 1, section 3, Uji Juju, the 10 Fieries of Uji. This is a love story among the three sisters Uji Hachi no Miya, Uigimi, Nakano Kimi, Pikifune. Kaoru, an illegitimate child between Kashigawa and Ona-san no Miya and Nayo Miya. Hikaru Genji, grandchild. These chapters are dominated by a strong influence of Buddhism and sense of uncertainty, and the characters of Kaoru is irresolute and can take the initiative in love, which makes a strong contrast with his rival Naomiya and Genji in the first place and second section. Kaoru's personality has had a strong influence on the tales of both the Heian and Kamakura periods later. Verse 2, the Lady of the Bridge. Genji's brother, Hachinomiya, lives in seclusion with his two daughters at Uji, spending his days in Buddhist training. Kaoru, being burdened by the secrets concerning his birth regarding Hachinomiya's way of living as ideal, and often visits his residence, coming to feel deeply attracted to Oigumi, his eldest daughter. Returning to the capital, Kaoru tells Naomiya what is going on in Uji, and Naomiya also gets interested in his story. Verse 3, Shigamoto beneath the oak. Naomiya stops at Uji in spring and exchange poem with Nakanukimi Hachi no Miya passes away in autumn. two daughters are left in Kauru's hands. Kaoru tries to arrange marriage between Nakanukimi and Nayumiya, while himself confesses his love for Oigimi, but is refused. However, Kaoru loves her more than ever. Verse 4, Agimaki Trefoil Nuts. Kaoru tells his love for Oigimi again in vain, while Oigimi hopes that Takanukimi and Kaoru will get married. At the end of the autumn, Oigimi leaves Nakanukimi and Kaoru alone in a bedroom. But Kaoru won't touch her. According to plan, he arranged a marriage between Nayumiya and Nakanukimi, but Nayumiya doesn't often visit his wife. And a bitter Oigimi falls sick in bed, soon passing away in Kaoru's arms. Verse 5, Sawarabi Bracken Shots. The following year, the period of mourning for Oigimi ended, and Nakanukimi is taken in by Nayumiya. Although Kaoru serves as her a guardian, he ends up being distrusted by Nayumiya. Verse 6, Yaradorigi the Ivy. Nayumiya gets married to Rakunukimi, and Nakanukimi, who is pregnant, cannot help feeling anxious about the future. While Kaoru consoles Nakanukimi, he becomes to feel affection towards her, which makes her confused. But after she safely gives birth to a baby boy, her position becomes more stable. Although Kaoru gets married with Unanumiya, his sorrow can't be soothed. However, when he visits the Hasidera temple, he catches a glimpse of Tikifini, Oigimi's half-younger sister by different mother, and is moved on by her. Verse 7, Azumaya, the Eastern Cottage. Because of her mother's second marriage, Yukifuni has been brought up as a stepdaughter of the country governor, and many men want to marry her because of her father's property. However, her mother hopes to make her marry a nobleman, leaving her with Nakanukimi. The mother wants to arrange a marriage between Kaoru and her daughter. But one night, Nayumiya forces her into a relationship with him. So she takes in Yukifuni, hesitantly consulting with Kaoru later and having her move to Uji. Verse 8, Yukifuni, a drifting boat. Nayumiya, who still cannot give up his attachment to Yukifuni, discourses her residence through a letter from Nakanukimi, and visits Uji pretending that Kaoru had an affair with Yukifuni forcibly. Before long, Yukifuni also comes to love Miya, while Kaoru, who knows nothing about them, begins preparations for having her move to Tokyo. So Nayumiya enters into a rivalry with him, planning to take her to his residence. As a consequence, Kaoru, who knows about the relationship between Nayumiya and Yukifuni, is sent a poem that claims her, and she agonizes over these two men. Verse 9, the Mayfly. Yukifuni is lost, and the remaining court lady sense that she must have drowned herself. So they had a funeral to hide the truth, lamenting over her death. Kaoru also notes this and grieves over her death deeply. When summer comes, Kaoru feels affection towards Onaichi no Miya, an older sister of his wife. Verse 10, Tinarai, writing practice. Actually, Yukifuni is not dead and is helped by Yukawa no Suzu, the prelate of Yukawa. Before long, she recovers and, without revealing her name, tells the Suzu that she would like to become a priestess because young lady Akashi, priest for incantation, tells her about Yukifuni. Kaoru also comes to know about her. Verse 11, Yumi no Ukihashi, the floating bridge of dreams. Kaoru gets to Yukawa and asks Suzu to meet Yukifuni to no avail. So he hands Yukifuni young brother Kugimi a letter asking her to return to the secular life. However, Yukifuni refuses everything and thinks about nothing but his training, and doesn't even reply to him. Kaoru leaves Yukawa, still loving Yukifuni.